Welcome to Kingdom Business Talk. I'm Ricky Trinidad, your host, and I'm so glad you joined us today. By the way, I want to put in this plug-in. Last week, I mentioned that Mayor Elisko, the new mayor of Newcastle, was going to be here this week. I had my schedule confused. He's actually coming next week. So I just want to inform you, stay tuned, because Mayor Elisko is going to share with us next week just his vision, his passion for the city. You're going to get to know the new mayor of Newcastle like you probably don't know him. You're going to get to know him personally. So I'm looking forward to that. But today is a real special podcast for you that we have for you. As you know, Kingdom Business Talk is all about this city. Last week we had a gentleman that's just been a longtime resident of the city, and he gave his perspective on how he envisions just the social aspect of the city improving while the physical aspect improves. Well, you see the beauty happen, and we're all looking forward to that change. And that's exciting. We've had a mayor from Greenville here before. We've had entrepreneurs, we've had business people. Today is a special day because today we have Dan Effinite, who is also a long-term resident here in Newcastle. And what a man of passion. I was intrigued by a video that he showed me that he prepared. He's in the marketing business. Well, without further ado, I get a little bit excited, a little ahead of myself, but I want to introduce to you Dan Effinite, who is we're becoming friends. We met through a friend of mine, Mike Mansour from Car Connection. Is a mutual friend. And he introduced us. You joined me at one of our ribbon cuttings at the Royal Place, which is now going back in for approvals. Royal Place is a subdivision of Metro Vitalization in Union Township. We're looking to develop over 200 homes and a campground there. Very exciting. Well, Dan was there helping me with the marketing aspect of it, with the videography, and he did a great job also. Thank you so much. At the last moment, you stepped in and helped us to video record the ribbon cutting that Marla Brown was so kind to cut the ribbon for us, State Representative Marla Brown. But Dan, tell us a little bit about yourself. I'm going to give you some loaded questions here. Tell us about your life here in Newcastle, just your experiences. We'd want to know a little bit about your business in the marketing industry, and also your vision and what you aspire to see in this beautiful city of Newcastle.
There's a lot of layers to that question, and I love how. Okay, so let's start with the first one. Is my experience in Newcastle. First of all, shout outs to Mahoningtown. I'm from Mahoningtown, and so Mahoningtown is a subsection of Newcastle. You know how there's the North Hill, the East Side, the West Side. I'm sure you've already kind of learned.
I'm learning.
Yeah, you are learning about some of the areas here. Well, I'm from Mahoningtown. Mahoningtown is a very special little place where it's its own community. We have most of our own things, and we're very, I don't want to call us isolated, but we're a very cliquey sort of people. The friends that we've made there, we have for the rest of our lives, and it's very unlikely that someone leaves. So I did, in fact, leave. I left and I lived in Nashville for a good, 7-10 years, and then I moved back when me and my wife were ready to get down and start a family. And that's so important here in Newcastle is the family. And now now building nuclear families in Newcastle is kind of a fading thing, as families change, but we still do it. We still did it, right? We still believed in the dream. I could have stayed in Nashville.
Well, what brought you back? What is it about Newcastle that you love? Now,
several arguments with my wife.
Okay.
No. So what brought me back? Generally, my family's here, and I think if you ask 100 people in Newcastle, I think they're all going to say the same thing. Whether you lived in Newcastle and you moved to Neshannock Township or Laurel or wherever you moved to, or you stayed inside Newcastle, you're all going to say, I think you're always going to hear the same thing as family, and that's because we believe so much in that core family group. People are still around with great grandparents at 40 years old. So it says something about us. And it says something about the content of the character of the people here. I've been everywhere, right? I've been literally in almost every state. I've lived in 3 or 4 different ones, and I can honestly tell you that the difference between there and here is there's some core element that maybe we don't even understand it ourselves yet, right? Maybe we can't even define it, but something brings you back here, and there's something here where it just feels like home. The people feel like home.
And you know what? That's what we need in our city is vision, that tight-knit community that you found in Mahoning Town,
Yeah.
and that draws you back. Now, you are a professional man, a professional businessman. You love your city, and you wouldn't, by looking around in Newcastle, you may not know that gentlemen like Dan are in here doing this type of work, the type of professional work that you aspire to do and that you're doing right now. Tell us about your marketing profession, your work in the marketing field.
So, first of all, I run a company. It's called Vital Friend Works.
So if somebody wants to find you, on Vital Friend Works, how do they find you?
So you can go to vitalfriend.digital, and we're available there. Typically,
vitalfriend.digital. Visit his website.
Right. Typically we're there. We have a location on. You can Google us essentially, but typically a lot of it's just through word of mouth. I do very little advertising, which I know sounds crazy for a marketing company, but just to clarify, I have that business. I also have a full-time business as a long-term software deployment manager for a company called CareStream Dental, so I do balance that, in my opinion, very well now that I have 2 kids. By the way, I just had a baby.
So congratulations are in order.
But no, so to dive deeper into what Vital Friend Works is basically digital marketing as a whole. And so it came almost out of necessity because there's not really many people here that A, understand what it means to really market, B, are completely intimidated by the social media field and have no idea where to go. And the majority of the time, I actually give away my services. And Vital Friend Works was actually created as a legal layer for myself, so that I can actually give away free services to people without being liable for actual. I have business contracts that I can engage with and give that pro bono work to them without.
Well, you're in for a treat tonight. I'm sorry, you're in for a treat tonight because at the end of this video, I'm actually going to play one of the videos that he produced, and it's a video that makes you look at the city of Newcastle in a different light. It's just a beautiful video. I fell in love with it, the way that you produced it.
Thank you.
So we're going to play that here at the end of this podcast, so stay tuned and watch that. So you can see what kind of work he does. But in addition to video production and filming, right, taking the video, the raw video, and then producing it.
Sure.
What else do you do at Vital Friend Work?
There's a lot of level of website development because there's so many people that need websites out there. There's a return on ad spend. Basically, we'll run beta testing for advertisements, Facebook marketing. Really, we give that away. It's not something that we want to charge people for, but ultimately we developed this platform. I'm sure everybody, that's where the majority of people know me from, is the breaking news. But what that platform was designed to do was rise people up, right? So for example, we're here at the Diamond Banquet Center, which is, everybody knows it as the Servaxnet building. And Servaxnet building has a problem, right? Servaxnet building's problem right now is that they have a St. Patrick's Day party, and they need a way. Yeah, perfect. Yeah, yeah. They have a St. Patrick's Day. They have a St. Patrick's Day party, and they need a way to get this out, right? So there's all these elements to it that are just wonderful. Like they're having a band, Reckless Highway. They have liquor.
Comedy show.
Yeah. Blaine Stallnecker is, I believe, hosting. or being the MC for it. So there's all these wonderful elements, but how do you let people know about that, right? And so that's essentially what Vital Friends Works does, is we help people, we've built a platform that can help people get out that message about positive things that are happening in the community. And sometimes maybe some negative things happen in the community also, but we at least have the ability, from our perspective, to address those things in a positive light. And
so if you want a business webpage or a business webpage enhanced, they can contact you.
Yeah.
For video production, they can contact you.
Sure.
For advertising on Facebook,
right,
and marketing online, they can contact you. So this is the type of work that you do in marketing. Do you foresee a large space with numerous employees here in downtown Newcastle as the city evolves and, let's say, commerce increases, the economy increases, new businesses are coming in, the city is developing as I envision it happening here in the next couple of years? By the way, I'm excited to announce, not right now, but in the next couple of weeks, we're going to announce.
I thought this was a special show. I thought we were doing.
Yep. Well, we're going to announce an exciting new project in downtown Newcastle. We're not going to tell you what it is right now, but we are excited to announce it in the next couple of weeks. So stay tuned for that. But
what letter does it start with?
It starts with a P.
P.
Yes. So we're not going to say.
I want to hit.
I
don't know.
It's a big
That
secret
helps.
until we get ready to announce it. But it's very, very exciting. It's going to transform this city. So as a city transforms and you get these new businesses and new economy, do you see yourself integrating with that and maybe being a pillar as a business in this community? And how do you envision that with your company?
So, first, I always feel like a pillar. I always, at least, if not a pillar, a leg to stand on. I've always supported people that are doing very well. And how I see that, essentially how I see that is not necessarily a centralized downtown, but ultimately a decentralized place where there are businesses springing up. Like Vital Friend Works is, what you would mainly call a guerrilla business, right? It has some interesting aspects to it where it's a marketing company that doesn't, it's like a speakeasy for marketing company, right? You don't know it exists, but we do very well. And that's because it's kind of like a hidden gem. And I believe that there's a ton of hidden gems. For example, Venice Winery is a hidden gem. And I'd like to see more businesses come from that due to population.
Mm-hmm.
For example, your developments are coming in, and there are great places within that development,
Yep.
right, for businesses to spurn. So my business, hopefully we want to do growth. We love that. There are people from Nashville that I still have great relationships with that are already saying, look, we can't staff here, right? That's their problem. We can't have educated staff, and so that's been that's beautiful because number one, we're more attractive thanks to you coming in here and bringing in some more modern homes and really helping us sort of stabilize whatever this housing market really is. And that's why I believe so much in metro revitalization. But ultimately those businesses are great, but those skilled workers are also going to come with those things because everybody knows that when you have a house payment, right? When you have a house payment and you want to do better, right? You want to be in that upper echelon, and that's a great leg up for those people to be in. So that's how I feel.
Well, I'm excited. I'm excited to see young entrepreneurs. I can't wait in the next couple of years as our city transforms.
Do I count as young?
Yes. Well, I'm 56.
What is the
so
bar? For example,
if you're 40ish, you're young.
Okay, fair enough. I was gonna say, what is the bar? Like, there's a young professionals for Forward Lawrence, right? Well, when does it stop? I don't feel young.
That's a good question. Well,
I'm tired right now. I just
I see you as a young entrepreneur, and
I've slept on this couch here. I just have a nap before we did an interview.
Well, people are meeting you through this podcast. A few years later, we're gonna come back and see what you're doing in this city, and that's what I'm excited about. You're young in the sense that you know, you still have at least 20, 30, 40 years of business under your belt and of impact that you're going to make in the city. So it's exciting to see it now.
Sure.
And then see what's going to happen as we grow.
Yeah.
I want to put a plug in here before we talk about your news portal, which is where everybody knows you from. I want you to share a little bit about that and the principles behind it, just your thoughts and your vision behind that, and how you see it growing. I have to put in a plug in for this location. It's the Diamond Banquet Center for St. Patrick's Day. There's going to be a party here. I'm going to be here. I plan on being here. There's going to be live entertainment, comedy show. It starts at 4 o'clock. It's March 16th. Basically it says at 5 p.m. but the doors will open at 4, and the tickets are $50 right here downtown Newcastle. And I invite you guys to come because we're going to be here. We want to pack the house. We want this to be an awesome event, and this is where the Newcastle.
Let me just say, just before we get too far away from this, the tickets are definitely $50, but the food's coming from the Cornerstone. So if you've ever had food from this guy, you know that $50 is going to be well worth it for a dinner ticket. You know, the drinks are going to be there. You're going to get, obviously he's going to have a band here. So there's a lot of value in that $50, and you know, just make sure, everybody just make sure, you know, obviously on St. Patrick's Day, you're going to have a great time, and for $50 you're getting away cheap.
Yes.
So just to clarify that.
And I'm glad you shed some light on that, because it's going to be an exciting event, and it's a celebration here in downtown Newcastle. You should come and enjoy it with us. Now tell us a little bit about your news portal online.
So the breaking news started at its inception to sort of, you know, when we really got serious about the breaking news, so it started on different premises, but when we really said, hey, let's actually figure out how to do something, it started on asking the question why. And Mark Alisco, who's going to be on for you, he is deeply embedded in the history. Mayor Mark Alisco, thank you. Mayor Mark Alisco, he is deeply embedded in the history of the breaking news, and so is Chris Fry and all the wonderful people that we've gotten a chance to speak to over the years. I think it's been around 4 years going with that, and what makes it so crazy is where we're at now. And you know, if you followed any of that the videos, you know, there's countless hours online, which unfortunately they're all gone. There's still a few on YouTube, but
and by the way, Chris Fry is the former mayor who's now the city administrator. How do we get to the breaking news? How do we follow you on the brief? Tell us.
You just type in the breaking news.
So it's positive. It tries to be positive news of
Call
Newcastle.
89%
positive news with a little bit of bias, which is good. It can also be a sounding board, but you'll get in touch and get in tune with the things that are going on in the city, and you try to keep a positive vibe. So I encourage you to find him and find the breaking news and check it out. Check it out for yourself. See if you want to join that community, because you can join online. They can sign up and join to your community.
And if I may make one more plug. So I'm wearing purple right now. So this is a plug for not only the Baby Iris, but also the Library's Finest also happens to be. Are you familiar with the Library's Finest? I'm going to recommend that you talk to a lot of these people.
Okay.
So what the Library's Finest is they picked, I want to say roughly 20 some odd people as some of the most influential people in the county, right? And I was lucky enough to be considered one of those people, along with some really great people like Randy Ryan, who's an author. You should have him on. Marco Belisco, who's a great guy. You should definitely meet him. He's actually a fireman here. He's also on school council. Ashley Lapierre, who who does all the parades, for example. But those people right now have a goal of $500. And we'll post the link here if you don't mind. We'll post the link on
for sure
as I share that.
Definitely.
Those people have a goal of hitting $500 in donations to support the library. And we always we support the library, and that's our goal, is just to hit $500. And we'll post a link if you could go and give $5, $10, $15. Mike Mansour, God bless him, he I think he gave me, I want to say $200, I want to say. So I'm lucky enough to have people like Mike Mansour in my life. Mark Alisco, actually, he gave $75. Josh Lamaku, the DA, the office of the district attorney, I shouldn't say just Josh, but they were nice enough to give the library $500. And so, there's all these great actors supporting the library, and for $5, $10 to support the library on much needed updates would be a wonderful thing.
I agree. We'll definitely post the link and see if we can get some people, and I encourage you, click on the link and donate to the library. It's a Newcastle library. It's reading. I've seen the library active. A lot of young people go there, and it's education. So I appreciate that you're sponsoring that, and we're going to support you as well. So
thank you.
I appreciate that. I want to add a brief plug-in. One of our projects at Metro Vitalization, Kingdom Place, was recently approved and filed in the county as a subdivision. So now the Kingdom Place development is officially a subdivision in Hickory Township here in the Newcastle area. And sales are going to start very soon. There's going to be 23 homes available for sale because 2 have already been committed. So 23 homes. So contact Renee Dean. Go to kingdomplacehomes.com and click on Renee Dean's photo. She is the broker, the real estate agent for this project. If you're interested, if you just want to learn more, visit us on kingdomplacehomes.com. Now, Dan, I want to ask you, what is your vision before we go into your video that we're now going to show to the podcast audience, and that's where we're going to end this podcast. Tell us your vision for Newcastle. How do you envision it? And you could say physically, aesthetically, economically, socially, even spiritually, whatever comes to your heart. How do you envision the city transforming, let's say, in the next 5 years?
So the city, in my opinion, is at the heart of the county, right? So understanding that you need a really good heart to survive is the start of that. And so, it comes down to a couple things, and you bring up, economic standpoint. So the value inside of businesses in this, there's plenty of value still for the businesses to be inside the city, and that ultimately, hopefully, we can have more people owning homes in the city. Now you're in a township, Laurel, and is that going to help the city? The answer is absolutely yes. There's value inside of getting those people down here. So do I believe in? Right now I'm starting to more or less realize that saying, hey, centralized businesses downtown for commercial properties is kind of a fleeting thing, right? We have more work from home, but this is the kind of stuff that I see for the city. Places like Servaxnet, who's done very well with redoing their downstairs, which at this point was a big nothing burger. I mean, actually, believe it or not, there was toilets here before Danny came in and redid it. But upstairs is servers, right? So there's value upstairs, right? There's income upstairs, and there's value downstairs on the bottom floor. And so what I'd like to see ultimately, from the bottom of my heart is more developments like that, more places. And there's always these people, which I find this crazy, but there's always these people out there that say, like, oh, there's nothing going on in the city. Do yourself a favor, and just one day, as soon as it gets dark, drive downtown right now. And there is a ton of things going on. There's people at the confluence right now. You can see all the cars going by, but every single one of these, I don't know if you can see my hand or not, but every single one of these stores, they are open. Mark Kaufman has a store, I believe.
Butts Flowers.
It's like around here. You can drive by it. You can see people in there.
Yeah.
So for everybody that's saying the downtown's dead, it's because you haven't been downtown.
And it's starting to grow.
Yeah, and it's starting to grow. The more and more there is a shop. I know it's like Hope Mercer's friend. They're great, but it's like right down this way, and there's always people there. Did you know there's a hookah lounge here? Did you know that?
Yep.
Nobody, all kinds of crazy things. There's all kinds of businesses. There's all kinds of people trying and willing to invest in the downtown. And they're working. But people like Chris Fry and Mark Alisco, who are doing great jobs at facilitating these businesses.
Yes.
City council's doing a great job at facilitating these businesses, yet they still get that. They still get that
The bad rap.
The bad rap. So that's my vision, is that ultimately we change our attitude, and we continue to invest, and we continue to win, because believe it or not, we've had some major wins out here.
I agree. And there you have it. Dan Effinite, a man of vision, who has a vision for his city, a young entrepreneur who's growing, exciting. And metro vitalization, just the word, metro, the metro area, and vitalization, it's revitalization. That's not by accident. Metro vitalization, we're about the change and transformation of the city. And here at Kingdom Business Talk, we want to highlight that with guests like yourself. And thank you so much for joining us. At this time, we're going to play your video so that people can see the type of work you do. It's not just marketing. Honestly, marketing is bringing people together. It's getting the voice out there and connecting the community. And that's really what you do.
Right.
Basically, your suggestion of having me meet all of these people that you mentioned that I don't
Right.
know yet, and I will be meeting people with your help, I'm sure. You're connecting the community. You're part of the library. You're a man of vision, and people esteem you as a strong businessman in this community. So I just want to thank you. I wanted people to get to know you a little bit. If you see him out here in Newcastle, say hello. And now you know about him. Now watch this video, because I was intrigued by it. I think you're going to love it. I know you will like it. And I thank you for joining us today on Kingdom Business Talk.
Thank you.
What's in a town? Some would say history, some would mention statistics and population, others would talk about economy and building structures, while some might mention crime rates and living expenses. And while all these things are important in any city or town, there is so much more. This is why we want to introduce you to Newcastle, PA. One of the largest historical districts featuring 1,700 homes, Newcastle is the epitome of family. It's where love grows, where education grooms and propels. It's where change is embraced and where unity is embodied. Perfect? Maybe not. Perfectly positioned? Absolutely. In the heart of Lawrence County, this Rust Belt town is known as being the fireworks capital of the country. It's also one of the many cities highlighted on the Underground Railroad. And if that wasn't a great enough historical fact, Newcastle has recently elected its very first black mayor. It's an exciting time, to say the least, to be a member of this great community and these people, but there's more. Newcastle has so much to offer, but it can often go unnoticed. There is a great deal of the downtown area that is underdeveloped. As you know, this can make a city look a bit run down. But rundown is far from what Newcastle is. Newcastle is deserving of attention simply because of the heart that it operates in. Some may have decided that it can't change. However, change is always good and change is always available. One only needs to believe. And we believe. We believe that Newcastle will thrive because we support our own. We believe that Newcastle can change for the better because that is what we encourage our residents to do. We believe that Newcastle is about to reveal even greater things because greatness resides here. In the very DNA of the air we breathe, in the streets and parks, in the homes and schools, in the smiles of the children, and in the wisdom of our elders, we are great. But not only are we great, we are family. So today, I introduce you to Newcastle. And I dare to say that our hometown can become better through you because we are better together. Hey, Newcastle.
Hey, Newcastle.